My friend, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine yourself speaking English with confidence, without hesitation, without fear, without that little voice inside telling you, what if I make a mistake? Imagine how your life could change if you could express your thoughts clearly, if you could connect with people from all over the world, if you could open doors that right now seem locked. The truth is, you don't need to be perfect to start. Too many people wait for the right time, the right teacher, the right environment. They wait, and years pass, but nothing changes. The secret to mastering English quickly is not about waiting, it's about starting. Start with what you have. Start with the words you know. Start with the courage you carry inside. Yes, you will make mistakes. You might feel embarrassed. People might laugh. But let me ask you this. Isn't it better to try, fail, and grow than to stay silent and remain the same? Every mistake you make is proof that you're learning. Every wrong word brings you closer to the right one. Every broken sentence carries you one step closer to fluency. The real barrier is not grammar, it's not vocabulary, it's not accent. The real barrier is fear, and fear is nothing but a story you keep telling yourself. Once you change the story, you change your life. Tell yourself, I can, I will, I'm not afraid anymore. Think about how different your opportunities will be when you master English. Think about the jobs, the friendships, the experiences waiting for you. Think about the power of connecting with people across cultures, of understanding books, movies, knowledge, everything the world has to offer. English is not just a language, it's a bridge. And once you cross it, your world expands beyond anything you've imagined. You don't have to spend years locked in classrooms. You don't have to be rich. What you need is hunger, a burning desire to learn, to improve, to become better. If you have that fire inside you, nothing can stop you. Listen, repeat, practice, fail, learn, grow. Day by day, word by word, sentence by sentence, you will get there. One day you will look back and smile. You will remember the times you were scared, the times you doubted yourself, and you'll realize it was all worth it. Because you didn't just learn English, you transformed yourself. You proved that no matter where you start, you can rise. So don't wait. Don't doubt. Don't hide. Start today. Speak today. Believe today. And soon, the world will hear your voice. The very first step to mastering English quickly is simple, yet it's the one most people overlook. Start with what you already have. Too many learners get trapped in the idea that they need more before they can begin. They say to themselves, I'll start practicing when my vocabulary is stronger. I'll speak when my grammar is perfect. I'll join a class when I have enough money. I'll practice when I have free time. And because of these excuses, they wait. Days turn into months. Months turn into years. And they still remain in the same place. But here's the truth. The right time will never come. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you create when you take action now. That is why the first step to learning English, faster than you ever thought possible, is to begin with what you already know. Think about a child. A child doesn't wait to learn 1,000 words before they speak their first one. They start with just one word, mama, papa, yes, no. That single word might be broken, unclear, maybe even funny, but it's a beginning. And that beginning builds confidence. That beginning creates momentum. That beginning leads to fluency. Now think about yourself. How many English words do you already know? Probably more than you realize. Words like school, teacher, good morning, thank you, yes, no, hello, book, phone, food. These are not small things. These are building blocks. Every word you know is a brick, and if you start using those bricks, you will slowly build the foundation of your English. But if you keep waiting for more bricks before you build, you will never have a house. Start building with the bricks you already have. That is step one. When you start with what you know, something powerful happens. Your brain begins to grow confidence. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and saying just a few sentences. I am learning English. I want to be better. I can speak. At first, it feels strange. Maybe your accent is heavy. Maybe your sentences are not perfect. But the moment you speak them, you are already one step ahead of the person who is still silent. Speaking, even in broken English, is better than saying nothing, because every time you use your voice, you train your mind to believe, yes, I can do this. Think about it. When you learned your native language, did you know grammar rules? Did you know how to write essays? No. You started by repeating the words you heard, copying the sentences around you, and slowly, without realizing it, you grew. That is exactly how English works. It is not about memorizing thousands of grammar rules before speaking. It is about speaking with what you already know, today, right now. Many people are afraid to start because they think others will laugh at them. But let me ask you, when a small child mispronounces a word, do we laugh at them cruelly? No. We encourage them. We smile. We say, "Good job, you're learning." You must treat yourself the same way. Don't punish yourself for being a beginner. Celebrate yourself for being brave enough to start. Imagine this scenario. You only know 50 words in English. That might feel small, but if you use those 50 words again and again, you can already create short conversations. Hello, how are you? I am fine. What is your name? My name is... These are simple, yes, but they are powerful. Because the moment you begin to use them, you open the door to more learning. Your confidence grows, your memory grows, your hunger grows. The people who master English quickly are not the ones who wait until they're ready. They are the ones who step forward before they are ready. They are the ones who take that first step, even if it's shaky. And that first step is always the same. Start with what you have. Maybe today you can only read English subtitles on a movie. That's fine. Start there. Maybe today you can only introduce yourself in English. That's fine. Start there. Maybe today you can only listen and repeat a few sentences. That's fine. Start there. Every small beginning leads to bigger growth. Don't underestimate the power of small actions, because when done daily, they create massive change. One word becomes two, two words become 10, 10 words become sentences, and sentences become conversations. And suddenly, what once felt impossible becomes natural. This is why the first step is the most important. Without it, the journey never begins. With it, everything becomes possible. When you stop waiting, when you stop doubting, when you finally say, "I will begin with what I have," you unlock the door to the rest of your journey. The very first step of real learning begins when you stop running away from mistakes and start embracing them as your teachers. Most people treat mistakes like enemies. They avoid speaking because they're scared of saying something wrong. They stay silent in classrooms, in conversations, in public because they don't want to look foolish. But let me tell you something powerful. If you are not making mistakes, you are not learning. Mistakes are not the problem. Silence is. Silence keeps you trapped. Mistakes set you free. Think about the first time you tried to ride a bicycle. Did you sit on it and ride perfectly on your first attempt? No. You fell. You scraped your knees. You lost balance again and again. But each fall taught you something. How to balance, how to pedal, how to stay upright. Without those falls, you would never have learned to ride. The same rule applies to English. Every wrong word, every broken sentence, every time you forget a phrase, it's not failure. It's training, it's practice, it's growth. Yet too many learners think, if I make mistakes, people will laugh. Yes, maybe someone will laugh. Maybe they'll correct you. But isn't that better than saying nothing at all? Isn't it better to try, to stumble, and to improve than to stay silent and unchanged? The people who laugh are not important. The ones who matter are those who will respect your effort and admire your courage. Every time you make a mistake, you create an opportunity to remember. Think about it. If you say something wrong and someone corrects you, that moment of correction sticks in your memory. You're less likely to repeat the same mistake again. But if you never try, you never give yourself the chance to learn. Mistakes are the first step of learning because they reveal what you don't know yet. Without mistakes, you would never see the gaps in your knowledge. Without mistakes, you would think you're fine where you are. But when you make a mistake, your brain says, this is something I need to improve. That awareness is the spark of growth. Some of the greatest communicators in the world started by making thousands of mistakes. They mispronounced words, used the wrong grammar, struggled to form sentences. But instead of letting those mistakes crush them, they used them as stepping stones. Every mistake was a lesson. Every failure was a push forward. Imagine this. You are speaking with someone in English and you say, "He go to school yesterday." The other person replies, "Oh, you mean he went to school yesterday." At that moment, you learn something new. Now the past tense makes sense. That one mistake becomes a permanent teacher. And because it happened in a real moment, with real emotion, you will never forget it. If you try to avoid mistakes, you avoid learning. If you hide behind silence, you hide from growth. The truth is, people don't become fluent by being perfect. They become fluent by being brave. They speak, they fail, they get corrected, they try again. And slowly, the mistakes become fewer, the sentences become smoother, and the confidence becomes stronger. Think about a child again. When they first start speaking, their sentences are messy. They say things like, "me want water," instead of, "I want water." Do we stop them and say, "You're wrong, don't talk until you're perfect"? Of course not. We let them continue because we know those mistakes are natural, even necessary. Without mistakes, a child cannot grow into a fluent speaker. And you are no different. Every mistake you make is proof that you are alive, that you are trying, that you are moving forward. The only people who never make mistakes are the ones who never try. And the ones who never try never succeed. So, instead of being ashamed of mistakes, be proud of them. Wear them like medals. Each mistake is a sign that you are brave enough to practice, bold enough to step out of your comfort zone, and strong enough to keep going. Remember this: fluency is built on mistakes. Confidence is built on mistakes. Growth is built on mistakes. They are not the enemy of learning. They are the foundation of it. The very first step of learning is not about grammar, not about vocabulary, not even about pronunciation. The first step is breaking free from fear, because fear is the biggest wall that stands between you and English fluency. You see, most people don't fail to learn because they lack intelligence. They don't fail because they don't have resources. They fail because they are trapped by fear: fear of judgment, fear of mistakes, fear of sounding foolish, and that fear kills their voice before a single word leaves their mouth. Think about this. How many times have you known the answer in English, but stayed silent because you were afraid of being wrong? How many times did you want to speak up, but your heart started racing, your palms got sweaty, and you decided it was safer to say nothing? That silence feels safe, but in reality, it is the very thing that keeps you from learning. Fear whispers lies to you. It says, if you speak, they will laugh. If you make a mistake, they will judge. If you try, you will fail. But let me ask you, how will you ever grow if you don't try? How will you ever succeed if you don't risk failure? The truth is, the people you are afraid of, the ones you think are judging you, they are not thinking about you as much as you imagine. Everyone is too busy with their own lives, and those who truly matter will admire your courage, not your silence. Fear is not real in the way you think it is. Fear is a story, a movie playing in your mind, predicting a future that hasn't even happened yet. You imagine the embarrassment, you imagine the laughter, you imagine failure. And because you imagine it, you start believing it. That belief becomes a chain, and that chain keeps you locked in place, unable to move forward. But when you face fear, something magical happens. The moment you open your mouth and speak, even if your voice shakes, even if your sentence is broken, the fear begins to lose its power. You realize it wasn't a monster at all. It was just a shadow, and the moment you shine the light of courage on it, it disappears. This is why I say breaking fear is the first step of learning, because once you remove fear, you give yourself permission to make mistakes, to practice, to improve. Without breaking fear, you will never take that first step. Think of a door locked in front of you. Behind that door is fluency, confidence, opportunity. But the key to unlock it is courage. Grammar will not open that door. Vocabulary will not open it. The only key that works is courage. And courage means speaking even when you are scared, trying even when you feel unready. Imagine yourself in a classroom. The teacher asks a question in English. You know the answer, but you're afraid to speak. Someone else raises their hand, gives the answer, and gets praised. Deep down, you feel regret. Not because you didn't know, but because you didn't try. That regret hurts more than making a mistake ever could. The pain of fear is heavier than the pain of failure. When you fail, you learn, you improve, you move forward. But when you let fear control you, you stay stuck. Fear steals your future before you even get the chance to fight for it. Here's the truth. Everyone you admire who speaks English fluently once felt the same fear. They were afraid of being laughed at, afraid of sounding strange, afraid of being wrong, but they pushed through anyway. They decided that fear would not control their voice. And that decision changed everything. You don't have to kill fear completely. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward despite fear. It means saying, yes, I am afraid, but I will still try. Yes, I might fail, but I will still speak. And every time you do, fear becomes weaker, and your confidence becomes stronger. The first time you speak in English, fear will be loud. The second time, it will be softer. The third time, it will almost disappear. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll find yourself speaking freely, with no fear at all. Remember this: the wall blocking you is not lack of grammar or vocabulary, it is fear. Once you break that wall, everything else becomes possible. That is the first step of true learning. The very first step of learning is to understand that English is not just a subject you study, it is a bridge that connects you to the world. When most people think about English, they think about exams, grammar rules, or vocabulary lists. They see it as a school subject, something heavy and difficult. But when you look at English only as a subject, you miss its real power. Because English is not just another language, it is a bridge to opportunity, to knowledge, to connection, to freedom. And when you see English this way, your motivation changes completely. Think about it. A bridge takes you from one side to the other. Without a bridge, you remain isolated, stuck in the same place. But with a bridge, you can cross over into a new world. That is exactly what English does for you. It takes you from limitation to possibility, from fear to confidence, from closed doors to open ones. Imagine yourself standing on one side of a river. On your side, opportunities feel small, limited, familiar. On the other side, there are jobs, friendships, travel, books, movies, cultures, and endless knowledge. But between you and that world is the river of language. Without English, you stand still. With English, you have the bridge to cross over. This is why I say that realizing English is a bridge is the first step of learning, because the moment you understand its power, you will no longer study out of pressure. You will study out of purpose. You will no longer learn because someone told you to. You will learn because you see where this bridge can take you. Think about the people you admire who have mastered English. They are not just fluent in grammar, they are fluent in opportunity. Their fluency gave them access to knowledge others could not reach. They could read books from different countries, watch lectures, listen to global leaders. They could connect with people across continents, work in international companies, travel freely. English gave them the bridge. Now ask yourself, what will this bridge give you? Maybe it will give you the courage to study abroad. Maybe it will help you land your dream job. Maybe it will allow you to meet people from all over the world and share your story. Maybe it will simply give you confidence, to stand up, to speak, to be heard. Without English, you can still live, but with English, you can live bigger, you can live wider, you can live connected to the world. That is the gift of the bridge. But here's something important. A bridge does not carry you by itself. You must decide to walk across it. English is here, waiting, offering you connection. But it is your choice to take the first step. Too many people stand at the start of the bridge, looking at the other side, dreaming, wishing, hoping, but never walking. And as long as you stand still, the bridge does nothing for you. To truly learn, you must begin to walk. And walking doesn't mean running across the bridge in one day. It means taking small steps, word by word, sentence by sentence. Every step you take brings you closer to the other side. Every step builds confidence. Every step expands your world. When you see English as just a subject, mistakes feel heavy, fear feels strong, practice feels boring. But when you see it as a bridge, everything changes. Suddenly, mistakes are not failures, they are steps forward. Fear is not a wall, it is simply the wind on the bridge. And practice is not punishment, it is movement across the bridge. The most powerful learners are not the ones who study English because they must. They are the ones who study because they see the bigger picture. They know English will connect them with knowledge, with people, with opportunities they cannot reach otherwise. That vision gives them energy. That vision gives them fire. That vision makes them unstoppable. So when you begin your journey, remember, the first step of learning is not memorizing rules. It is changing your perspective. It is seeing English not as a burden, but as a bridge. The moment you understand this, you will no longer ask, why should I learn English? You will start asking, how far can this bridge take me? The very first step of learning is not chasing perfection, it is choosing consistency. So many learners make the mistake of waiting until they feel perfect before they speak. They say, I will start when my grammar is strong. I will start when I know more vocabulary. I will start when I sound like a native. And because they wait for perfection, they never begin. But here's the truth. Perfection is not the starting point. It is the reward of consistency. Consistency is the real secret to mastering English quickly, not hours of cramming in one day, not memorizing thousands of words in a week, but small, steady steps taken every single day. Think about it like exercise. If you go to the gym for 10 hours in one day, you will be exhausted, but you won't be fit. If you go for 30 minutes every day, slowly, steadily, your body transforms. Learning English is no different. One sentence spoken daily is better than staying silent for a month and then trying to speak 100 sentences in one day. Reading a single page of an English book every day is better than reading 50 pages once and forgetting them. Watching a 5-minute English video every day is better than forcing yourself through a 3-hour lecture once in a while, because the power is not in the size of your effort, it's in the consistency of it. Consistency does something magical to your brain. Every time you practice, even for a few minutes, your brain builds connections. Your memory becomes stronger. Your tongue gets used to the sounds. Your ear gets used to the rhythm. It doesn't happen overnight, but slowly, day by day, it becomes natural. What once felt impossible becomes easy. What once felt heavy becomes light. This is why consistency must be the first step of your learning, because without it, nothing else matters. Without consistency, even the best teachers, the best resources, the best books cannot help you. But with consistency, even small resources, even simple words, even short lessons can transform you. Think about water dripping on a rock. One drop looks weak, but when it falls every single day over time, it cuts through the rock. That is the power of consistency. It is not about being strong once. It is about showing up again and again, no matter how small the effort. Now think about your own journey. Maybe you don't have hours to study English. Maybe you don't have expensive courses or fancy tools, but you do have 10 minutes a day. You do have the ability to repeat a few sentences daily. You do have the chance to listen to English songs or watch English videos while commuting, and if you use those small moments consistently, they will build into something far greater than you can imagine. Many learners waste time chasing perfection. They ask, is my pronunciation correct? Is my grammar flawless? Do I sound exactly like a native? But perfection is a trap. It keeps you from starting. It makes you afraid to try. Consistency frees you from that trap. It says, don't worry about being perfect today. Just show up. Just try. Just take one step. And if you do that enough times, one day you will look back and realize you are far better than you ever dreamed. Remember, children don't learn by being perfect. They learn by repeating small things daily. They say the same words again and again until they become natural. They listen, they imitate, they practice. Slowly, without pressure, without the need for perfection, they grow. That's why they master languages so easily, because they focus on consistency, not flawlessness. If you can accept this truth, your learning journey will change. You will no longer feel overwhelmed by the size of the goal. Instead, you will focus on the step you can take today, and every step will add up. A little today, a little tomorrow, and suddenly, fluency will no longer be a dream. It will be your reality. So remember this, the first step of learning is not waiting for perfection. The first step is choosing consistency, because consistency, not perfection, is what transforms your effort into mastery. The very first step of learning is not about books, not about classrooms, not even about teachers. The first step is hunger, the burning desire inside you to grow, to change, to become more than you are today. Without hunger, nothing else matters. You can have the best teacher in the world, the best resources, the most advanced methods, but if you don't have hunger, you won't move, you won't push yourself, you won't fight through the challenges, you won't stay consistent when it feels hard. But if you have hunger, if you have that unstoppable fire inside, then nothing can stop you. You will learn even without perfect resources. You will grow even without perfect conditions, because hunger makes you unstoppable. Think about it. Why do some people master English quickly while others struggle for years? It's not always about intelligence or talent. It's about hunger. The ones who succeed are the ones who want it so badly that they refuse to quit. They use every opportunity, every moment, every mistake as fuel. They stay up late. They practice when others relax. They push through embarrassment because their hunger is stronger than their fear. Hunger is the first step of learning because it gives you a reason. And reason is stronger than excuses. When you are hungry for success, excuses disappear. Suddenly, I don't have time becomes I will find time. I don't have resources becomes I will use whatever I can. I'm afraid of mistakes becomes I will learn from mistakes. Hunger changes the way you think. It changes the way you act. It changes the way you live. Imagine being so hungry for English that every conversation becomes practice, every movie becomes a lesson, every mistake becomes a teacher. Imagine being so hungry that you no longer care about how hard it is. You only care about how far it will take you. That hunger is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Look back at your life for a moment. Think of a time when you really wanted something badly, so badly that you couldn't sleep until you had it. Maybe it was a goal, maybe it was a job, maybe it was proving yourself to someone. That hunger gave you energy, didn't it? It made you fight, it made you creative, it made you determined. Now imagine directing that same hunger toward English. Do you see what would happen? You wouldn't just learn, you would transform. Because hunger does more than give you motivation. Hunger gives you identity. You stop saying, I am trying to learn English. You start saying, I am an English speaker in progress. You stop saying, I hope I become fluent one day. You start saying, I will be fluent because I will never quit. Hunger changes your language, your mindset, your belief, and when belief changes, actions follow. The truth is, hunger is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The ordinary learner studies when it is convenient. The hungry learner studies even when it is hard. The ordinary learner stops when they feel tired. The hungry learner keeps going because their vision is bigger than their tiredness. The ordinary learner waits for opportunities. The hungry learner creates them. This is why hunger must be your first step of learning, because once you feel that fire inside, you will never need someone else to push you. You will push yourself. You will chase growth like your life depends on it. You will turn every obstacle into fuel. You will not ask, is this easy? You will ask, is this worth it? And you already know the answer. It is. Hunger is what transforms your journey, because when you are hungry, learning is no longer just about English. It's about proving to yourself that you can rise, that you can change, that you can achieve something extraordinary. Every word you learn, every sentence you speak, every step you take is no longer just practice. It is victory. So when you begin your journey, don't only ask yourself, how can I learn English? Ask yourself, how hungry am I to learn it? Because the size of your hunger will decide the size of your success. My friend, everything you've heard today leads to one truth. Your future is in your hands. You don't need to wait for perfect grammar, for endless vocabulary, or for someone else's approval. The power to transform your English and your life is already inside you. Yes, you will make mistakes. Yes, you will feel fear. Yes, you will struggle. But every step you take, every word you speak, every effort you make is moving you forward. Don't see English as just a subject. See it as your bridge to opportunity, to knowledge, to a bigger life. Don't chase perfection. Choose consistency. Don't wait for someone to push you. Ignite that hunger inside yourself. Because one day you will look back and realize English was never just about language. It was about courage. It was about growth. It was about proving that you are stronger than fear, greater than excuses, and capable of more than you ever believed. So speak today. Practice today. Believe today. Don't wait for the world to give you permission. Give yourself permission. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And the world is waiting to hear it. This is your time. This is your journey. This is your transformation.